Good evening, everyone, or perhaps good morning or good night. My name is Tamoy Campbell, and I'll be your moderator for this evening or this morning. I also want to say Happy Heroes Day to all the Jamaicans who are here in the chat with us. Now, tonight, I want to welcome you to the UE Soft and Life Skills webinar series. We always have interesting conversations since lating times, and we have great presenters who always end up leaving us with gems and something that we can walk away with. And tonight, we'll be talking with Miss Corine Lafont. Now, she's going to be helping us to talk about navigating life, money, spirituality, sex, all of these things. But let's get to know her just a little bit more. Now, Corine Lafont has been a PR practitioner for the past 10 years. While living in Jamaica for 21 years, she established herself as a columnist with the Jamaica Gleaner, a national daily newspaper, as well as offering professional services in publishing and digital marketing to clients globally. Upon her return to her home to Trinidad in 2017, she registered her business, LaFons and Associates, a PR and communications consultancy to address the needs of communication strategy and crisis management, content creation and publication, as well as digital media marketing and strategy. She has been a Toastmaster since 2012 and is a member and president of Leaders Beyond Borders Online Advanced Toastmasters Club. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the virtual stage our presenter for today, Ms. Corine Lafont. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Chamoy. I just realized that in the bio, is everyone hearing me by chance? Let me just make sure. Yes, great. That I needed to delete some stuff. So I'm no longer the president of that club, Leaders Beyond Borders. And I think everything else is pretty cool. Yeah. So thank you so much for having me. And it's great to see so many people here. I see 72 people, and I'm sure counting, joining us. And what I want to do is start off by asking persons in the chat, and Tamoy, I'm sure you're probably monitoring the chat. Karina is in the background. I'm sure she's supporting you. So hi to Karina. So I want to ask everyone in the chat to just let us know where they're calling in from or logging in from. I recognize one person so far, Robert Ray. I want to acknowledge Robert Ray, friend of mine. He's nodding his head. So please put in the chat where you're coming. Oh, yes, Jamaica, Connecticut, Trinidad. Lovely. Oh, Barbados. Jamaica again, Barbados, lovely. Trinidad. Robert, you need to move over. This is a Caribbean scene. You need Grenada. Belize, yes, all Caribbean. Oh, Toronto, yes, you need to move over. Florida, yay. Great, keep it coming, keep it coming. It's great to have so many people from all over in this webinar. I don't know why I'm talking about navigating life, because I too am trying to navigate life. So I don't have all the answers. I can just give you the answers that I know that worked for me. And what we want to do today is really to interact. I see people are hiding behind their names. I'm seeing black screens. No video on it. Would be great if you can put your video once you're not naked. And if you're naked, that's okay. We have seen naked people before. So you can come on your video and let us see who you are. Let's interact. You're beautiful. Don't worry about it. You're beautiful. I'll have you know that if you saw me the last time, you would have seen me with blonde hair, a little bit longer. Blonde hair, if you had attended my first webinar here with Yui. That was when, Tamoy, some months ago, I think, or last year, I think it was. I can't remember. You'll have to remind me. And my hair was blonde at the time. And so I have gone well, this is always my natural hair, but I've gone with my natural color because this is what it is. So I'm saying that to you, that no matter what you look like, what you're rocking, it's you. Accept it. That's one of the first tips to navigating life, acceptance. Yes. So don't worry about what other people think, say, or do. It's just their opinion and it doesn't matter. So we're all here navigating life. And as I said, I want this to be very interactive. We're here for about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. So I want us to be Yes, Trinidad, Melissa from Trinidad. I want us to be interactive. I want us to share because I don't want to be the only one talking. I want you all to pour into me as well. I'm pouring into you. I want you to pour into me and to pour into others. And don't be afraid to share because, or ashamed because what you're going through, other people are going through. Okay, so there's no shame or anything negative about that. There's somebody who can learn something from you, or they can take what you're sharing and share it with somebody else in need. Okay, so navigating life, one of the first things I would want to start off with is really, how do you define life? And the word life has such multiple meanings because it's not like any other word that you can look in the dictionary. I want you to follow what I'm saying, that you can look in the dictionary and look up the word life. But when somebody say, how do you define life? They may even interpret that as, what is the meaning of life? It takes on a different perspective depending on how you approach the person, probably even where you're sitting, probably where you are in that at that point in your life, what you may be thinking, what you may be going through. So when somebody's saying navigating life, or what does life mean? It would be great to hear from you guys. What does life mean in terms of a definition? Not necessarily the meaning of life, but how would you define life? Or just put it in your perspective, your life. How do you define the word life? Let's get some interaction from people in the audience. You can come on, if I don't know if they would allow you to speak by raising your hand. I would love for that, and don't let my voice be the only voice be heard on this webinar. Yes, this is your moment of glory to be shown on TV. Yes, so please open up your mics, please open up your video, and feel free, raise your hands, and Tamoy will recognize you if you want to just share what does life mean? Anybody want to go with that? Just give it a try. Yes, Robert, lovely.
It's an adventure. It's an adventure from childhood to old age.
Lovely.
And what you do with that adventure and the experiences that you experiences along the way, the people that you meet along the way, the tragedies, the life experiences, the happiness, the joy. That's what life is. And life is to be able to give back to others that maybe need your help, maybe need some reassurance, maybe need some love in their life.
Life.
Love it.
Life,
Horace.
Life for me is, in one word, presence. Being present with, along with, engage, and enjoy. Being present to enjoy.
Lovely. We're getting some deep definitions here, deep meanings. I love that. Who else? We can't just have the men talking, you know. Come on, woman. Let's challenge these guys here. What do you have to say about that? What could you add to that? So we had adventure, we had presence. Anybody? Anybody want to give it a go?
Marsha in the chat told us that it is a journey of life and sorrows.
Yes, lovely. I see Mrs. Costello Ford is saying from birth to death. She's on point, actually. And I too also think of it as from birth to death. You know, when you say in the alphabet, A, B, C, D, if it still goes that way, you know, you have the B, C, D. So everything from birth to death, all your experiences, everything from birth to death, with the C being the choices you make in between the birth and the death. So if you think of the alphabet, yeah, B, C, D, it's really that from birth to death and the choices you make. And each one of us, there are 97 of us and counting on this webinar, and each one of us here have made different choices or similar choices that reaped different results. We don't, there's no right or wrong, yes? And we shouldn't look at the decisions or the choices that we made as regrets. We think of it that way because we feel blame, We feel shame and guilt. We could have, we should have, you know, the shoulda, coulda, woulda is always coming in. But that's really self-torture, which you can't change. And the thing about it is that life is all about that, making choices, decisions that you just have to live with, because it's just one of you. There isn't another one of you that you can throw away one place and then replace it with another. It's just one of you. So you have to be able to live with yourself, okay, throughout life, however long that may be, from birth to death, because we don't know when that final chapter will be. But between that birth and death time, that duration, we have to make the most of it. Yeah, just like Robert Ray was saying, we have to make the most of it. And some of us, we look back and we feel we haven't accomplished anything. It happened to me, and I'm speaking personally here, and I'm sure others can relate. You know, we feel we haven't accomplished anything, but what we don't tend to do is write down and document. You know, one of the things I find interesting, we see a lot of change happening. Like you might see development taking place, people building up houses on new development. But the people, the company that's constructing this new development, prior to that, it probably was land. You might have seen animals grazing. It probably might be squatters. It might have been nothing at the time. And you don't look back because you never capture those moments to see where you came from to where you are now, to think, I have accomplished. And why do we talk about accomplishment? Because according to society and the programming that we have had over the years, that duration from birth to death, those life experiences, we must accomplish certain things at certain times. So it is expected that you go to high school, you're supposed to achieve a certain amount of, in our space here in the Caribbean, a high school diploma, degrees, and all of that. You know, you should come out being this, have children at this particular age, have your own house at this. Who sets those standards? Who set that? I don't know. I would love to meet the person or persons who have done that, you know, because I am actually living out their life that they have set for themselves or expect. And I am in this frame that I didn't even create. And it's passed on because as parents, we give birth, we have our parents, and so we perpetuate. So the questions we have to keep asking ourselves when we journey from birth to death is, this decision and this choice I'm making, is it really mine? Where is it coming from? Who has influenced that thought, that decision, that choice? Who, what, where, why? Is it really of my own doing? Is it really me, or is it coming from somewhere, an expectation from somewhere? And you see, you have to be prepared during that journey that when you discover or you realize where it's coming from, let's say it's yours, you realize it's really yours, it's what you want to do and not influenced by somebody else, that when you make that decision, it may go against the grain of what is expected, what your parents would have taught you, your teachers, the community, the church, your workplace. You're going to come against a lot. And are you prepared to stand up to that? And the questions you have to ask as well is, do I need to prove myself to anybody? Do I need to validate myself to anyone? Why? So throughout that journey from birth to death, you keep asking yourself these questions. And this is why I have love, sex, money, spirituality, because we define ourselves, we define our life by these things. The marriage, the person we marry, where we end up, the occupation, our sexual orientation, even, you know, you may not be a straight person person, you know within yourself you're probably gay or whatever it may be. And because we don't know that duration from birth to death, do you really want to live your life or navigate your life according to somebody else's standards or according to your own, authentically? These are the questions you need to ask. Are you really, at the end of this session, you have to ask yourself, or even before, while we're talking, am I really living an authentic life? Am I living my life? Or am I living Tamoy's life? Am I living Robert's life? Am I living Horace's life? Whose life am I living? Oh, wait, I am actually sounding like my mother. Am I living my mother's life? am I living the life that I heard my mother spoke about her mother, my grandmother? Wait. Oh my God. Am I living all that? And you realize that you are. It's not really you. And then here comes the big thing now. What am I going to do? So you discover that you're living out your parents. I don't want to be doing that. So what really do I want? And you're like lost. You know, it's like you're floating because you don't even know who you really are. And one of the things that I say to people is, you have to go on that self-discovery of knowing who you really are authentically. It's not going to happen overnight. I can't tell you when it will happen. All I can say is a wonderful, wonderful journey. I have been on it for years. I am still on it. It never ends. It's a work in progress. Just discovering who you are and accepting who you are and just being who you are, no matter what anybody says or does. Now be prepared, you're going to lose friends. Friends. Notice I have the floating quotes, friends. The people you thought were close to you, you're going to lose friends. Oh, hold on, you will lose family. I'm just saying, you're going to lose family because you're going against the grain. And this is not how we do things in the family of the Rays or the Campbell family or the Ward family. Yeah, or the Ludwig family. We don't do that over here. So hello, you either fit in or get out, right? So you have to decide when you realize you're not really living your life. What do I really want? It's going to be scary, but isn't it great to have a blank slate where you could actually take that paintbrush and create your own thing? You can look at it and say, I did this. I created this. This is of me, from me, about me. It's not what somebody else did and gave to you and said, this is your life. This is what you need to do. How many of us in our final hours, whatever that may be, we don't know, would want to go back and say, oops, hold on, I'm not finished. Could you just give me some time? I need to come back and do the things I want to do. You're not going to get that chance. Some people do. Some people wake up and realize they got a second chance. But that penultimate moment, to have to quiver and say, could I have a second chance? Could I have a second chance when you had the chance all the time? How many of us waiting for that moment to really live the life that we really want to live? How do you want to live it? And when we talk about navigating, we're talking about maneuvering. Notice how I'm moving my hands, maneuvering, going up the hills, the valleys, swimming in the deep sea, struggling, having moments of joy and bliss. It's all about all of that, like was mentioned earlier. And the thing about it is that we need to appreciate every one of those moments, because what what does it do for us? It allows us to become stronger at the end of it. If we had more time or we were hanging out, I'm sure we would all share more about our lives. I can share more about mine. And I can tell you the person that I am in this very moment, at what time is it? 8:20 my time in Trinidad and Tobago. Okay, I forgot the date. What today is? The 18th of October, 2021. At this moment, I absolutely love the person that I am. And it's not that I wouldn't love myself more tomorrow morning once I'm given breath and life, but in this moment, I absolutely love the person that I am. And a lot of people will say it, but you know how you know if you really love yourself? When you allow people that come into your life, that abuse you, control you, and you allow it. I want to say that again. You really know if you love yourself in moments when you're interacting with another human being, family, loved one, your own children, co-workers, whoever it may be, neighbor, I don't care. And you allow them to control and abuse you. And you know how you know that? When you know to yourself, your intuition will tell you, but you know to yourself, if it were a friend that brought that same situation to you, and they're like, girl, so-and-so is happening to me, blah, blah, blah. And you'll be like, oh, hell no. I would not put up with that. But you are doing it right now. You don't love yourself. And the person that I am at this moment, it's now 8:22, 2 minutes ago. So 8:22, I absolutely love who I am, because the person that I was years ago was not as strong. And I mean, I was always confident, but my sense of self is much more stronger today than it was before, because I allowed toxicity into my life, thinking that I loved myself. Okay? We use these, what would you call that now? I don't know. Love, money, sex. We use these phrases, these terms to define who we are. We use the work, the title, the position, the status quo, the money, where you live, the family name, the church you go to, the car you drive, the house you live in, as the things that define our lives, that defines who we are. But the key question is, if that is stripped of you, who are you really? If you were stripped of all the money, the job, the status, the car, the husband or the wife, if you were stripped of all of that, and I want you to think about that, if you were stripped of all of that, who are you? This is why people commit suicide, because they can't deal with the so-called nothingness. It's like, how do I exist? What is that? They go into deep depression. And from that deep depression, they don't see a way out. I don't want that for any one of you, any one of us, anyone out there. But it happens because people believe that their life is defined by these things. And as I said, it is set by someone or something or I don't know, a group. I don't know who set these things that make us feel that we have to be this particular way. And if we're not, we are nobody. And there are people who come around. What? Okay. Yes, I see it come back on. Good. Just to want to make sure. So you see, you have to be careful with that. You have to be very aware and live a very conscious, aware life during that birth to death. And keep asking yourself questions. Where is this coming from? Where are these triggers coming from? Why do I feel compelled to behave this way? Is this really from me? How will I navigate life? And one of the things in my self-discovery, especially, I don't know when it all started. I think it's always on a continuum. But I started asking myself a lot of questions, as I do most of the time, because I live alone. I live in silence. I don't have a TV or radio that has been purposeful for many, many years. Can you believe that? And I'm in public relations. Some people ask me, how is that possible? It is quite possible. I have a very clear view. I have clarity of thinking when it comes to crisis. Need all the possibilities, or most of the possibilities of influence from outside. So I see a situation for what it is, and I deal with it in a different way, very clear. I'm not influenced at all. So people might say, Corine, could you be in public relations? And I am very clear on what needs to be done. Yes. So don't get confused. But you know, you have to understand that in my living in silence, alone, without all these different things bombarding me, the media, you know, all the different things that people say, but you need to know, and I'm like, why do I need to know? If a storm is coming, I will hear about it. I have food in my fridge. I'm good to go. If there's no electricity, I can't do anything about it. I have stored water. I'm good to go. I mean, what's the biggie? You know, what's the biggie, right? But you have to know, you need to know what's going on in the world. You wake up in the morning. I have waked up in my family's house, you know, by my mother and so on, and people come over. And the first thing upon waking, I hear them talking about who died, murder, all sort of gruesome things. I'm like, oh my God. And the first thing you wake up, that's what, my God, really? You hear about this? You hear about, I'm like, whoa, you just woke up and this is really? So I remove myself from that because that's not what I want to pour into my life. You are already dealing with things that you have to deal with. And then there are other people who decide that you must hear all this information. You just must. Okay. I'll give you an example again. I remember being in a taxi, minding my business. I was sitting in the back seat. The passenger is in the front of me. She's talking to the driver. And I'm good. It's early in the morning, like about 7 o'clock. Nice fresh breeze coming in. I'm feeling good. You know, I'm going out there. It's while it was during the pandemic, so I'm feeling this breeze is feeling nice, blowing through my scalp because I don't have much hair, and I am just loving it. And this woman pulls up her phone and she's having her conversation with the driver. Of course, I'm not taking them on, but I can pick up little things that there's some sort of gruesome something. And she's like, did you hear about Sansa? She picked up her phone. She pulls up all the images and she decides herself around at me. You see this? I'm like, what? And started to show me the gruesome images. I'm like, hold up. I didn't ask. I don't know the woman. I'm not traveling with her, but she felt compelled to share. No, I had to stop her in her tracks. But remember, as human beings, certain things already imprint on you. And if I had taken a longer look at it, it would have had that my whole day impacted just because she felt she had to share. There are some people in life that just feel they have to share and dump their stuff. I don't know why. Keep it to yourself. Okay, and pass on that. And then here's what happened. It's a domino effect. Just as how I'm talking about it now, however long later, a year or I would have been sharing that and saying, did you see what? I didn't have the image to share, but I'm sharing my disgust over it. There are people who come into your life that do that. You have to stop them because these things impact your day and it could also impact your life. You may have had a plan to do something and it just throw your whole energy off. It's energy. Okay, your life is energy. It's a living, breathing thing. And so we have to be careful in navigating life to take on other people's energy. Like if you're in a race with Usain Bolt, You take on that plastic bottle and you running with it. Okay? You have to be very, very careful. Don't be taking that on. Stop people in their tracks. And here's the amazing thing. When you stopping them in their tracks, they'll be like, you don't want to know it, because they feel offended. They start to feel offended. But who really should you be protecting? Should you be protecting them, or should you be protecting you? Whose life really is it? Whose life really is it? Not to offend them at the expense of you. Really? You leave at the end of the day, or an hour, a few minutes after leaving that person, and your whole energy is off. What do you prefer? That you accommodate the person just not to offend them, so that they leave nice and feeling good, and you are left feeling horrible? I don't care if it's your family or friend. You have to decide, make that choice. But we talk about choices between birth and death. Who do you really choose? Do you choose you, or do you choose the person? And everything comes with sacrifice. At the expense of what? Yourself? Your own well-being? Tell me if I'm making sense. I'm seeing persons commenting, but I can't keep up with it. It keeps flashing in front of me. Please jump on and say something. Anybody, say something. Don't leave me to talk to myself. Come on with your video and talk. Don't leave me to talk to myself.
Totally agree.
Am I making sense?
Yes, you are making sense.
I totally agree with you. Yes.
Lovely, lovely.
They say
Carry
say
on
that
is in
we're
perfect sense. Yes, Robert.
that we're three people in one. We're what others think we are, what we think we are, and what we really are.
That's exactly right. And that sums up the webinar. Have a good night, everybody. Okay. So right? But that is absolutely right. And we must not be afraid. We are living in fear. We are afraid of losing that friendship. We are afraid of losing that job. But the friend is not really a friend. If somebody cannot respect how I feel and my opinion and how I want to live an authentic life, then you're not my friend. And it's okay if you keep moving on, because life is, like a train ride or like an elevator. Not everybody is meant to stay in your life. And why don't you make room for persons who are meant to be in your life, as opposed to trying to hold on to the ones who are not meant to be? Let go. Let go. Let go.
Yes, I agree with you.
The key to navigating life for me, I don't know about anybody else. I can only tell you about me. Maybe at the end of this webinar, maybe at the end of this webinar, you may decide to follow suit, but detach from everything you want. It could be money, it could be a man, it could be a woman, it could be a job, it could be the house, it could be the car, anything. Do not attach. Enjoy it for the moment it comes into life. Be prepared that it's okay. If you are meant to get it back, good. If you are not, good too. But do not attach to anything. Because it's through that attachment, we have to attach the word navigating life, as opposed to saying living life. Because you only have to navigate things that you're going to be, having ups and downs with. But when you're living life, it doesn't matter what comes at you. You just keep living, because you're not attached to that God has given you. For those who believe, you want to be navigating life, trying to move and, bob and flow, with everybody that comes in, and then try to mastermind and plan for this one and that one, and how you're going to be dealing with this one. Oh my God, you have a lot of energy. Okay, I don't want to be waiting or what Dwayne did or what I don't want to be doing that. I want to be planning that trip and be looking forward to Dwayne picking me up, getting Tamoy on the way, Brenda and Robert, and tripping and drinking and eating and going and watch the sunset and dipping our toes here. And that's what I want to do. I want to have memories created of that. I want to be able to sit down, look back when I'm not with them and say, oh my God, I remember when Tamoy did that, and just start laughing. Or I'm probably hanging with Robert and I just start laughing and he's like, Corine, what are you laughing at? And I would remember something that Tamoy or Joyce or Rosemary or somebody did. That's how I want to live. Simple and easy. Not according to anybody's standards, because we can't take all these things to the grave with us. We can't. The status, money, title can't go with it. And we know this, but yet we still grappling, crab in a barrel, fighting to get these things to prove what to who? Do you need to prove it to yourself? Why? Why do you need to prove it to yourself? Yourself is quite comfortable with yourself. So why do you need to prove it to yourself? Why would you have to be navigating? Like if you're in rough waters all the time and preparing for that wave that you will be in the next few minutes. Why too simplistic? Why? What is wrong with simplicity? What is wrong with simplicity? Whose standards are you living by? Would this not be considered too simplistic according to who and to what? What's the reference that you're using? Because innate in that question, it's saying that too simplistic according to who or what standards? And what is wrong with simplicity? That is because there's something insufficient in a locus of control, right? Right? I love a simple life. When I wake up in the morning, I wake up to birds. Do you know how blissful that is? Waking up to birds, sitting down watching them, or the lizards crawling on the plant, or the butterflies, sitting down and watching the sunset, and in the evening you see all those beautiful colors just form. Or just watching through your window and seeing the shapes of the clouds. When you were little, we used to, I don't know if people did it, but we used to watch the shapes of clouds and the different animals. And you would be lying down with your friend, or you'll be with your friend and say, look at that, I saw that. And another person night, just in its glory, run outside and take an image of the moon and share it with friends and be like, here, look, isn't it beautiful? Some people don't even stop to see all of these things, to appreciate what's around them, because they're there in the non-simplistic life, grappling, rushing for everything else. I'm not saying that aspiring for these things are not good. If that's what you want to achieve, I'm not saying no. But while you're trying to do all of that, appreciate the other things in your life, that you don't have to feel that you're navigating, like a captain in a ship with all the other sailors, and you have to, get all the little instruments out and try to figure out where to go next. Why not just go with whatever life throws at you? Enjoy the ride. And as I say, enjoy the ride, those, what do you call those things? In those parks, major parks, where you sit in the ride and they lock you in and you have no control, and it's like, it climbs up. What do you call those things?
Ferris wheel.
And it climbs up and then you dip, you're racing down. Yeah, all of those, you know, and those big rides that have you going all over the place, those twisted ones, and you're screaming your lungs out, you know, and you're like, I will never. You jump on you have no control. You can't jump out. You can't say, excuse me, can I come off here when you're at the top of the top of the thing trying to go down? You can't say, can I come off here, please? You can't say that. Right? You just have to stay there, shut up until the ride gets going. Shut up. Start screaming before the ride gets going. Yeah, screaming before the ride gets going because you know, if you don't vomit or poop your pants or pee or whatever, you know you're going to be having fun and screaming your lungs out. You just know it. Go with the ride. Go with the ride and don't worry about navigating life. When you sit down in one of those things, you don't know who's coming to sit next to you or who's coming to sit in front of you or behind you. You just happy you have that, and you'll be grabbing onto the person next to you. You'll be like, oh my God, and you're grabbing. You have no control. You're not.
Okay, hi everyone. I think we lost Miss LaFon just for a minute, so she'll be rejoining shortly. Okay, she's with us now. Yeah. You're muted, Miss LaFon. Okay, she's back with us. Can okay.
Because I'm enjoying the ride. What is going on? I just got bumped off the ride. Make me. Can you hear me? Yes. Can you?
Yes,
hear
hearing
me?
you now. Yes, we're hearing you.
I don't know if you are. Are you? Are you hearing me? Are you still hearing me? Let me see. Right. My view so that I can see everyone. Lovely.
Okay, so I think Miss LaFon is having some connectivity issues, so she is being bumped out, but we're going to try to get her back in. I see that she's in now, so I'm just going to ask her to unmute. Okay, she's with us now.
I'm back again.
Yes.
Let me see what's going on here. This thing is bumping me. Why? Why is it bumping me? And I'm trying to see if I can switch networks here, but it's not allowing me. Okay, let's make the best of it. Are you guys hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you. And
are you guys hearing me and seeing me? Lovely. Let me see if I can. All right. If this happens again, I'll have to switch networks. Yeah, I'm seeing the other one showing up here now. Lovely. Thank you. Right. So we're talking about a ride. You know, you have no control. Let me switch my view. Right. You have no control and you're just going on the ride. And I mean, when I was talking about it, you know, there are people who started laughing and you can tell it was a genuine laugh because they can actually feel what that is like, the joy, the bliss, the just letting go, you know, and that is what you want to do. You want to wake up every morning, go to bed at night with that sort of feeling every day, every day. And it's not that people wouldn't anger you, that things wouldn't come to upset you. I mean, you know, we have to be real, but it's how you react to that. It's how you react to it. And if you live a life where you're coming from that space of not attaching, it's easier for you to so-called navigate life. So if persons upset you, you're not giving over that power to that person to allow them to upset you. You take control and power over that, and you're not allowing that to get to you. No matter what they do you, what they say. Have you ever tried just not giving people what they want, that sort of reaction, and they get even angrier? Have you ever noticed that? Tell me if you have ever experienced that. Yeah, right. Right. Tamoy is saying yes, when you just don't give people that reaction that they're hoping for. You don't feed into it. And so they get angrier and angrier, and you're watching them getting angrier and angrier. Yeah. And you're like, wow, look at you. Just do it. You don't want to give that person that power. Don't feed into that. There is I'm sure you've probably heard of it, but if you haven't, you will hear about it now. The Tale of Two Wolves. Have you ever heard of that tale of two wolves? Has anybody heard of it? The Tale of Two Wolves? No? I want you to Google that when you come off of this. Google it. It's no? Angelica is saying no. It's a wonderful little story. I think it's by like Cherokee Indians, where this little boy asked his grandfather about, you know, something he asked his father, and the father was telling him about the tale of two wolves. There are two sides to us, just like how Robert was talking about. There are three aspects of us, but there are two sides of us. There is a dark and the light side. There's always pictured as a dark and the light side. And in the end, the grandfather says, you know, he said, which one will survive? There's always a struggle inside of us. We're always struggling, having that inner struggle. And somebody mentioned about that inner locus of control, you know, that inner struggle. We're always struggling. And why we have that struggle too, it comes back to that influence, who we really are authentically, who, you know, who are we living our lives, whose standards, whose programming is in us. That's why we have that struggle, because we're trying to do what's right according to what we feel, but, you know, there's that other side. So you always have that inner struggle, you know, that dark and light. And the little boy said, so which one will survive, basically? And the grandfather said, the one you feed. So you have to make that choice, which one you feed. Now, you also have to have in the universe, there's a universal law of balance. Yes, in the universe, there's called balance. Things that go up, down, you know, reciprocity, there's laws that exist. And we have to create balance. Those two sides, we can't really get rid of it necessarily, but we have to be able to tame and control and create balance. So you have to know which one you feel, which one you want to have probably a little bit more dominance, the one that you really want to be, how you want to be reflected in the world, how you want to interact with others, as opposed to just, you know, giving over to one side of you, whether it's a dark side or, you know, especially the dark side. You don't want that. So you have to be always in a place of awareness and consciousness. And this is how you really are going to be navigating your life. If you are navigating, if you find you're living your life of navigating, yeah, as opposed to being on that roller coaster. That's the word I was trying to remember, that roller coaster ride, where you're locked in, you have nowhere to go. You can't come off at the top of the roller coaster and say, let me off here. You just have to go with it. Whoever is beside you, you have no choice. Whoever comes into your life, comes on that ride, comes off that ride, you have no choice. You have to deal whatever is dealt to you in a deck of cards. And you have to enjoy it, scream your lungs out, vomit, poop, whatever it is. You just have to enjoy the hell out of that thing. Make the best of it, right? And also be a light in other people's lives. Okay, be a light in other people's lives and don't allow other people to be you. But in the end, be you. At the end of the day, or not even at the end of the day, that's a phrase we tend to use. Throughout the day, you have to keep asking that self-examination. Am I okay with what I just said? Am I okay with what I just did? Could I live with myself with that? And if you know truthfully that you did something that you're not comfortable or settled with within you, in your intuition, go back to that person and apologize. People say, you know, you have to be a big person to do that. It has something to do with a matter of being a big person. It's living your authentic self. And decide if you really want to be navigating life. Like if you're a ship out in the ocean where you have to plan and use your tools and all of that, or if you want to live life, where no matter what comes to you, you are just going with the flow. When you watch a river or the ocean, it doesn't sit up and say, you know what, let's sit down and decide where we want to go, what we want to do. It just goes. If it moves over rocks, pebbles, goes under the earth, sand, it just moves. It just moves. We have to be liquid like the water, like the elements of the earth. We have to learn from what God has given us. Learn from that. Okay? And stop feeling that just because we are above the so-called food chain, that we are better than, we are supposed to be more intellectual, we're supposed to know better, we're supposed to plan, strategize. Just move, be liquid. 75% of your body is water, okay? Be liquid in your life and just live. When things come at you, just shape shift like water. If you take water in a glass and you pour it into something else, it just takes the shape of that. It doesn't complain. It just takes the shape. Yeah, it doesn't change the taste of the drink. You enjoy it the same way. It might be a different experience drinking out of a teacup as opposed to drinking out of a glass. But you can enjoy the experience of drinking out of that teacup and say, hey, this is a new experience, but I'm still getting the benefit of that drink anyway. Yeah, does that make sense to you guys? Make sense? I see it's 8:53 is coming up to the close of the time, and I want to give everybody an opportunity to ask questions and so on. If you leave it to me, we spend the whole night here. So yes, I see Tamoya saying, all right, just makes sense. Masha, Daddy, hey. I see my thing is saying my connection is unstable. It's going to keep me on here and not bump me again. I don't know what the hell is going. It's not going to get at me. Yes, somebody saying thank you, Tamoy. So yes, let me thank Tamoy and Corina and Yui. Yes, my alma mater, for having me on again. And I'm always willing to be here. If you have any questions, please open up your video, your mic. You're not here to just sit down and listen at me and me looking all pretty and gorgeous. I want you guys to talk to me, say something. Yeah. Thanks, blushing. Horace, I see you turn on your video. Where are you, Horace? Horace, I'm not hearing you. Unmute yourself, darling. You don't know how to unmute?
We have one question.
Yes? What's the question?
I'll assist in unmuting. So I just want to say, firstly, thank you so much for that amazing presentation. And we're now at the Q&A section. So everyone, as you heard before, you can raise your hand, you can come on, and we'll give you the opportunity to share your thoughts and ask your questions. Kelia has her hand up, so I'm going to ask her to just unmute her microphone and share her thoughts with us now. So Kelia, you can go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay. Hi. One moment. Let me put on the video because you wanted to see it's not coming on.
That's all right.
I don't put it because of the connectivity.
Yes, yes. That's okay. Lovely.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Yes, just wanting to add to the conversation that you made, and I found it interesting as life is. But one thing that I think we people keep doing, that I find in my environment at least, that people keep doing, is that they lack the self-awareness. And we must keep in mind that self-awareness is not something, a one-time thing, is in a continuum throughout life and our different life cycles. And we need to keep reinventing ourselves and having this process of self-awareness in a continuum, and that reflective practice that we need to constantly be doing to ourselves. And unfortunately, with the type of environment and the working environment and the work responsibilities people take, not much of that is being done. And I think that is where many a times we lose ourselves. And we find ourselves bottlenecked with a lot of frustration, anger, and sometimes things that we could have avoided, but unfortunately we didn't give it proper attention. I think presence, being present at every instance of our life, is something that we need to do. And being present doesn't mean that the situation is good, but embracing what the reality is and making conscious decisions of what next.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Kelia. Let me just make a comment on that. Awareness and consciousness is not something easy to come by, because what that means is going within. And what that means is dealing with all the demons that are happening within us. Okay? And not a lot of people are prepared and willing to face the things that they have to just face. Okay? To forgive themselves, to forgive others, to let go. Yeah? To accept the decisions and choices that we made in the past, to get over that torture that we keep putting on ourselves. You know, some of us, we keep asking God, forgive me, forgive me, forgive me constantly. The man heard you. He has forgiven you long time. You know, you are the one who keeps torturing yourself. Okay? So it takes some doing. And all of that comes with letting go. And some people might think, and not a lot of people, I would say, get along with me, Kelia, because of the way I live my life and the way I see things and may react or respond to things. It's a challenge to a number of people. And that's okay, because they are so used to a particular reaction or response that when I come with something different, they're like, what? Why do you have to respond? They just don't get it. And that's okay, because there is an imagery that a friend shared with me. You know, a caterpillar to a butterfly, it evolves. A butterfly cannot go back to being a caterpillar. He was once a caterpillar, he has to evolve to a butterfly. That is just a journey that they all have to go on. And if you know what it takes for a caterpillar to become a butterfly, you wouldn't even want to go through that process. I would suggest you look up on YouTube to the pain and the process of them being in that cocoon, just isolating themselves, like how we are in the pandemic, just isolating themselves. It is painful just seeing and listening and watching those videos as to what they have to go through in that little enclosure to become the beautiful butterfly that we see today. But a butterfly, when it becomes a butterfly, like I say, cannot go back to being a caterpillar. So the language the butterfly speaks is not the same as a caterpillar. It cannot speak caterpillar, and caterpillar cannot speak butterfly. Okay? Because that's gone. So I speak butterfly language, and I meet a lot of caterpillars on my journey because we all coexist. So when I speak butterfly and they speak caterpillar, we just don't connect, and that's okay. I recognize that. They may not, and that's okay. They are not there yet. And this is not to make it seem like I'm elevating myself or I'm above anybody else. It is just, I'm still going through a process that they are not willing or they're just not there yet. And we cannot force people to be somewhere that they're not ready for. So we may want something, we want something badly for somebody, but they have to want it for themselves more than you want it for them. You can only work on you, which is why the navigation life, you can only live your own life. You cannot live somebody else's, somebody shouldn't live yours. But consider that imagery of the caterpillar to the butterfly. And I encourage you to do some reading on what a caterpillar goes through to become a butterfly. It's not an easy process. Yeah. I see Horace wants to be unmuted to ask a question.
Yes, so he's unmuted now, so you can go ahead, Horace, and ask your question.
He's still muted from what I see.
All right, so I'm starting it out. Horace, if you can,
yeah,
let me know if you're able to speak now.
He's good now. Yes, Horace, ask your questions, my darling. You're good, Horace. I'm waiting for you.
Unless I missed the point, I did post my question when I couldn't get in or could not unmute.
That's all right.
Would you give 1, 2, 3 practical and sustainable steps to navigate forward? You said after I posted my question, read. The other example I cited is to have a life coach. Can you recap 1, 2, 3 so that a year from now, which is something you said earlier on, that I can continue moving in the metamorphosis from being the towards being the butterfly?
Lovely, and you'll make a lovely butterfly, Horace. I can't remember, honestly, what I said because I was just moving with the flow. I don't have, as you notice, no PowerPoint, no anything, but here's what I can say to you. The recording is going to be coming to you, and you will have the opportunity to listen and re-listen to that and be able to take down your points. I hope that's not much of an inconvenience to you. And Tamoy, I hope she has my information. The conversation can continue with me privately if you wish. I don't know, you have my information, Tamoy, don't you? That people could contact me if I can put it in the chat. Yeah?
Yeah.
So that's an added benefit for you, Horace.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem, my love. Yes? Any other questions?
Kelia, I saw that your hand was up. I'm not sure if she had another point or if it was something to add on or perhaps a legacy hand. But if not, there are a few comments in the chat that I'd really like to read because a lot of persons were really posting things as we were speaking. So I heard Fatima say that she apologized for being late, but she's a mom and she has 2 toddlers and she's now in her final year for law degree. Congrats to you, Fatima. And facing the demons are important because we can't outrun them. Self-awareness, honesty, and self-care are essential. Most of all, the anchor holds and God is faithful. Truly thankful to be in this space with all of you. At 27 years old, I can honestly say I get all of it. Blessings to you all.
Oh, thank you so much, and congrats. Congrats on that law degree. Come on, you're doing good. What else do you have to share, Tamoy? I love hearing these things. And I saw Kemba talk about the power of now. I love that book. I love that book, The Power of Now. It talks about presence. And The Power of Now is also in audio version and it's free, of course. If persons want to listen to it or download it, it's available. Just go to YouTube and check it out. It's great. So if you in your car, make use of the time instead of cussing people out on the road. plug in to something that that can help keep you focused, yeah, while you're driving. When you're in the line in the bank, well, I don't know how that is now with the whole pandemic, but whenever you're somewhere, just redirect your attention to positive things and feeding your soul. Yes? Yes. Any other comments, Tamoy?
Yes, so Kemba was saying that self-awareness seems to be a rare commodity. The more I speak to people who ask my advice on things, the more I realize how much we as a people do not reflect. I try to teach my son these things, and I realized that was something you kept pointing out in the conversation, reflecting, being aware of yourself, because I don't think if you don't have a conscious idea of who you are, you can possibly impact or help anyone. So I think Kemba was really listening and taking in a lot of notes on that one.
And let me just make a point on that, Tamoy. Let me just make a point on that, Tamoy. In your awareness, it is not a matter of you coming from a place of being better than anyone else. It's about being a better version of yourself and allowing, and this is the hard part that some people might not like to hear, allowing others to give you feedback on you, because you cannot be a better version of yourself and not be open to criticism. Now that criticism, people may not communicate it in a way that you may like, but when you are speaking and evolving into the butterfly, you are now going to be listening with a different perspective, in the sense of, I am going to take what I heard and I'm going to take the things that I know the person is trying to tell me, and not all the other things that possibly can hurt me. You're coming from a different perspective. So when somebody might have said something to you that normally from a caterpillar stage, you would have cussed them out and said this or said that and react. Now you're coming from a place of calmness where you're actually hearing, you're looking at the person with different eyes now. You're not seeing the physical. You are actually seeing a being that is actually telling you something about yourself that you need to work on. So you have to be open, because energy, works like that. You have to be open to that criticism and not come from a place of just you giving to, but you also have to receive. Okay? And in responding to that person, you must be able to say, I am thankful, even if it hurts, because as I said, moving from a caterpillar to a butterfly is painful. But for you to grow and evolve into the beautiful butterfly that you want to be, you have to go through the pain. You have to make up your mind. Those wings that will be coming out of you, it looks pretty. It looks pretty. But those wings that's coming out of you, it's not easy being formed. Okay? When everybody can look at you and say, oh, wow, isn't that pretty? Oh my God, I've never seen such a beautiful thing. Hello, to become so beautiful that somebody can appreciate, it ain't that easy. So you have to take the pain to become better. Okay? I know a lot of people might not like pain. I don't, but make up your mind. That's just part of the process. Yes? I see a question from Horace. Have I ever lost focus or gone off track? What was it like? What were my next steps? Of course, we always lose focus. I have lost focus several times and I've come off track. But the main thing is in that question is that I am aware that I've lost focus, and I'm aware that I've lost track. The fact that you ask that means to say that I'm aware, or that you are aware, or the person is aware of it. The fact that you are aware of it means to say you could do something about it. Whatever it is that you know you had to do or you should have done, you just get back on track. And the main thing about that is don't punish yourself. Don't beat up yourself for coming off track, because you will be saying, I knew it because you did not follow your intuition. I knew it, I should have, I this and that. Doing that is not helping you. Recognize that, yeah, I made that decision. Look at what you gain from the experience. I learned to make sure that when my intuition speaks to me, I must follow it. It never guides me wrong. So what you need to do now is start building a deeper relationship. I thought I had a deeper relationship with my intuition, my inner self. Now I realize I don't. I'm still questioning it. I'm still going against it. I need to get deeper into my meditation, deeper into myself. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Horace. I used to,
Thank
oh,
you
this
so
is going
much.
fast. That's going fast. The more you manage that, I'm not doing
No
that at all.
problem. So it was from Kemba. And Kemba said that he used to hate being criticized, but he has realized that it was just a reflection of perfectionism and people pleasing. But back then I couldn't deal with it until I dealt with these things. Nothing happens before its time. It's hard, it's a hard process, but it gets better in time.
It does.
And he's
It
also
does.
adding to be gentle with yourself. Life
Oh,
is a
yeah.
journey, not a destination. That's his favorite quote.
Oh, yes. And wake up every morning and say how beautiful you are. I wake up, I look in my mirror and I'm like hot and sexy. Yeah, you're beautiful. And give myself a kiss in the mirror. Do that every day. And every time I pass, I do that. I'm like, oh, hold on. Yay.
I love that so much. I personally started to do something a little similar by saying every morning that I am enough, just to get myself started and to start the day just with some positive energy, because everything it can be so stressful. So I really also appreciated this session. Even though I'm moderating it, I took up everything like a sponge because I appreciated not just how full of vibes you are, because you're so energetic and vibrant, but at the same time, you're candid and you're very authentic. And I didn't feel as if it was just airy fairy things, but I think you left all of us with something that's practical, inspiring, and just make me feel good. Like just a feel good vibes. And I honestly can't thank you enough, Miss Lafont.
No problem.
Let me
give you one
comments in the chat.
Let me give you one more thing that I think people need to be very aware of. When you go to bed at night, the last thing that you do is very important, because whatever you do is the first thing you wake up with in the morning. Be very careful what you do in that time leading to your bed. If you know speaking to Tamoy is going to create an anxiety and anxiousness, I mean, well, it's the same thing. Anger, don't speak to her. Don't. Because that is going to disrupt your energy going to bed at night. It's going to be on your mind. It's going, you lock it in. It's like muscle memory. It locks in. And in the morning, the first thing, try it, you will see. The first thing is that thing, Tamoy, oh my God. As opposed to saying, I am so thankful for waking up in the morning. You know, you put your feet on the ground. I do this religiously. I am thankful that I can feel my legs, you know, that I can walk. Thank you, organs. Thank you, blood vessels, however you want to do it. You know, you just thank on my capacity. Well, I think my capacity is still there. I mean, I'm a little bit off sometimes, but yes, I'm thankful. You know, I'm thankful. You know, be very careful what you do. And do it, that's throughout the day, but especially when you're going to bed at night. Even the movies you watch, anything, the things you listen to, it's not just people you interact with, conversations, whatever it is. And some of you guys here are married. There are some things that you have to be careful and have that communication with your spouse and say, look, I really don't want to talk about this right now. And the person should be able to respect that. And at a convenient time, you can broach the topic or bring it up again, because you know how it will make you feel in the morning. Yeah. So please be careful with that. That's just an additional tip. Yeah.
We also have a few more comments from
Yeah, keep
Marsha.
them
She says
going.
that she says that she ends her day with entries in a gratitude journal, and this has forced her to end the day with positive thoughts. And Venice also does something very similar, and she meditates, but in the middle, she struggles sometimes, and the negative thoughts sneak in quickly.
Of course, that's what the ego does. That's what the ego does. The ego is there to remind you of all the things that you did wrong because you're not feeding it. So it's going to make you feel bad. That's what it's there to do. And you have to remind it and say, you know, thank you so much, you know, for bringing that up. But here's what, I like what I did. I'm comfortable with what I did. You know, have that conversation. You know, growing up, our parents would say, stop talking to yourself. Really? Talk to yourself. It is not a sign of madness. Okay? Talk to yourself, right? It is okay, right? Your ego is going to remind you because you're not feeding it. You're not doing the things that it wants you to do, right? So you have to say, it's all right. I thank you for bringing that up. You know, that was, yeah. But I have decided, and you have to step into that. Step into that mode. I have made a decision that I am okay with it. And you will find that as you step into that presence, it suddenly calms down and it realizes who is boss. Who is boss? It's not you, it's me. Okay? And I am okay with it. And the more you keep doing that, is the more it will realize where its place is, and it's not above you. Okay?
So Horace also posed a few things in the chat. He was saying that we should love to laugh. And at the same time, he was also saying that we should connect with healthy people. So I think everybody's just practicing positivity and healthy habits on how they can start their day and be their best selves. And also want to thank you again, Ms. Lafont, because you created this atmosphere for us to just be comfortable to do so.
Yes, yes.
I
Thank you
also
so much.
want to just remind you. No problem.
Yeah.
I want to remind everyone that you can request a recording, and I've been putting the email in the chat. And you can also connect with Miss Lafont after this, and her email is also in the chat. So we're going to wrap up shortly, Miss Lafont. But if you want to just share perhaps a quick 30-second, I don't know, any little thing you want to leave us with just before we wrap up, I'm going to give you the opportunity just before we close.
Oh my God, I didn't plan for that, but I don't know. I just love being here. I love sharing, and persons know about my website, or they should know. Let me put it. It's lafonassociates.com. Let me see if I can put that. You already know what I do, public relations and communications. You have my email. If anybody wants to reach out to me, feel free. I'm on LinkedIn. Robert Ray is always connecting with me on LinkedIn. He's such a sweetheart. So please, I'm accessible. Yes, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, I am accessible. So feel free to reach out to me. I don't bite, and if I do, I don't bite hard, you know, but yeah, that's just what it is. Go with the flow. Be liquid. Remember the ride, the roller coaster. Yeah. Don't fight me when I'm biting you. Okay. So that's it in a nutshell. And thank you so much, Chamoy. You know, Yui is always doing a great job hosting these sessions. You know, there's 106 people now. People are dropping off little by little now. It's wonderful to have so many people from all over, in the Caribbean, all over, you know, and I look forward to being here again. Yeah, and in any way I could help or even speak at anybody else's events, if they want me to, I am free to do so. Yeah, so just reach out to me and let me know. I'm open to that. Yeah, thank you so much. Michael Allen, thank you so much for being here, my darling, from Barbados. I'm shouting you out.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lafont. So we're now at the end of another amazing and inspirational webinar. I want to take the opportunity to again thank Ms. Lafont for just being very awesome and just inspiring us. She left us with not just with feel-good moments, but we also had practical steps on how we can navigate life and be our own authentic self. Thank you, participants, from Robert to Horace, Kelia, everyone in the chat for just participating and sharing your thoughts. These are the things that make the webinar also just more amazing, and it adds to the conversation. I also want to thank the team from Miss Corine Dice and her entire team for planning and orchestrating these events, because they are needed and they're super important. I want to shout out everyone from Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Connecticut, or Anguillan friends. I saw the person from the UA Alumni Florida chapter, and I think the Lions Club. So a lot of our friends were here. And finally, it was my pleasure to be your moderator for this event. My name is Tomoy Campbell. Please stay safe, have an amazing day, and I can't wait to see you again for our next webinar. Bye, everybody.